An injured soldier spots a fallen man, obliterated by the Dreadites. Soon, a Dreadite appears to finish him off, but they see a figure approaching. The Dreadites prepare to attack the mysterious man, but he defeats them alone. He approaches the wounded man and holds his hand, beginning to remove his ring and a gold amulet. The soldier tries to warn him not to take it, but before he can finish a sentence, he dies. The man then appears in a tavern in a nearby village, where a group of peasants talks about how the soldiers take their harvests for the war, yet they still continue to lose. At this rate, they won't survive the winter. They should become raiders, just like the man who is showing the strange one. He tries to curse him, but the old man interrupts, saying that the man has suffered a lot. He was a knight in the Queen's army before the dreaded attack, being the only survivor of the Grimvault massacre. The man is surprised to discover that no one survived. He examines the amulet, and his eyes turn red. The old man continues, saying that now the man roams a kingdom without a flag or master, and has a new name, Deathstalker. Suddenly, a two-headed troll bursts into the tavern, demanding that he hand over the amulet. Deathstalker then pays the owner 2 coins, one for food and another for a chair. He breaks the chair over the troll and flees. The troll sets off in pursuit, attempting an ambush, but spots the man with its 2 heads. A fight begins, and he notices a strange symbol on the troll. The troll grabs his sword and breaks it in half, throwing it away. Deathstalker tries to escape, but the troll catches him with a rope around the leg and pulls him. He shows the amulet to the troll, who tries to grab it, but Deathstalker stabs one of the heads with the broken sword and flees on his horse. The other head of the troll curses him, saying that all murderers will now be after him. Deathstalker returns and throws the remaining sword at the troll. During the journey, he feels that the amulet is not worth it and throws it into the lake, but soon realizes that it is back in his pocket. He tries a few more times, but the result remains the same. He understands that he is now bound to it. Next, he seeks out a witch and shows her the amulet, asking her to untie it. She says it will only be untied with his death, but there is a way. She asks for a map and a symbol. Deathstalker must give his blood, and the witch will do her magic. She mentions an old wizard who knows the ancient tongue and can help. The symbol on the map begins to move and marks a place where it says bad, do not go. Deathstalker is about to leave when the witch warns him about a great evil that is rising. Sometime later, he arrives at the location the witch indicated. He enters a cave system and spots many dead bodies. Someone in a box asks for his help. He grabs a sword from there, looks around and finds the key. As he grabs it, the dead body sinks into the ground. He is about to open a box when suddenly, man-eating snakes emerge. He climbs onto a rock and unlocks the box. A wizard emerges from the box, and Deathstalker asks his identity. He reveals that he is who Deathstalker has been looking for, and that people call him Father. Deathstalker cuts some snakes and puts Doodad on his back, then throws him away from danger. As they escape, the father thanks Deathstalker for saving him. Suddenly, a snake attacks Deathstalker from behind. Doodad tries to help with his magic, but ends up hitting Deathstalker. He manages to defeat the snake alone. After that, they sit around the fire, and Doodad examines the amulet. He asserts that it is from an ancient empire whose records have disappeared. However, there is an old wizard named Zodon who knows the tongue and is dead. Therefore, they need to go to his crypt, which must be full of ancient scrolls. This way he can deduce the writing of the amulet. The next morning, they start their journey when Deathstalker remembers a sign he saw on the troll and shows it to Doodad. Upon recognizing it, Doodad informs him that it is a sign of the Cider sect, an ancient cult of wizards who practiced black magic. Its leader, Necromemnon, was defeated, and all records were destroyed, but it seems they have returned. Some believe that the Dreadites were created by the Cider sect. They continue on their journey, being watched by an evil bird. After a few minutes, Deathstalker sees that the eyes of the amulet are glowing red. Doodad warns that someone is approaching and that they should hide. A man on a horse appears, throwing some stones to the ground. A band of Dreadites emerges, ordering them to search the place. As they try to escape, Deathstalker makes noise and a Dreadite runs after them. Running, they hide behind a rock. Doodad takes out a stone and performs a magic ritual, from which a specter emerges that cannot find its way and makes noise around them. Deathstalker tries to silence it, but the Dreadites have already discovered them. The knight appears and removes his mask, revealing himself to be Deathstalker's old friend, Jotac. He calls him by his old name, Tritus. In the Battle of Grimvault, they were ordered to stop the wizards performing black magic. Jotac fell under their enchantments, thus Deathstalker was forced to kill him, but he returned with the magic of Necromemnon. Now wanting the amulet, Jotac stops a Dreadite and confronts him personally. The sword fight begins, and both are evenly matched, but soon Jotac grabs him and knocks him to the ground. He is about to deliver the final blow when Deathstalker defends him, cutting his hand. He takes Jotac's sword and throws his old sword at the Dreadite, before fleeing with Doodad. While the other Dreadites search for them, they hide. Doodad comments that if Necromemnon has truly returned, they are all in grave danger. Their meeting could be a divine mechanism. They need to uncover the secret of the amulet and continue their journey toward the crypt. At night, they arrive at the crypt and see Necromemnon's minions executing something there. Instinctively, they hide behind a pile of dead bodies being taken inside. Deathstalker argues that it was a bad idea and begins to argue with Doodad, who mentions it was his idea. Suddenly, a woman tells them to be quiet, informing them that they are not the only ones trying to enter. Watching, they realize that the minions are performing some kind of ritual to create a feared soldier. They understand how they do this. Suddenly, they spot a guard, and the pathway to the crypt is clear. Doodad, seizing the opportunity, rushes for the crypt, while the woman follows him, and Deathstalker remains on watch. The woman grabs some jewels while Doodad tries to open the crypt. The woman helps move it, and Doodad enters, searching for a scroll among the many that are there. Outside, a guard finds Deathstalker and begins to beat him. The woman locates a flute while searching for jewels and urges Doodad to hurry. Suddenly, a faceless monster emerges in the room. She attempts to fight it off, but ropes shoot from its hands and grab her. Outside, Deathstalker defeats the guard and finishes him off, going to help the others. Doodad, still searching for the scroll, finally finds it. Suddenly, a face appears from the dead body of the monster. It is Necromemnon, who speaks of his castle, asserting that they cannot escape him. He will hunt them to the end of the kingdom. The woman finds a path and leads the others through it. They exit the tunnel and hide in the moaning forest, where the trees constantly scream. In this place, Doodad reads the scroll and the woman plays the flute. Deathstalker thanks her for her help and asks her name. She introduces herself as Brisbane, a simple thief, assuring him that she will not steal from them. At night, they all fall asleep. Upon waking, Deathstalker notices that the amulet shines and goes searching for danger. A stone titan pursues him, changing its face and attacking with its glowing eyes. Deathstalker dodges the attack, and the titan changes its face again and attacks with a hammer. Brisbane comes to help, but the titan also attacks her, changing faces, while Brisbane manages to rip out its eyes. She falls to the ground, and the titan tries to stomp her. Deathstalker attacks it from behind, causing green liquid to ooze and removing the cap from its back, resulting in the titan's destruction. Brisbane takes the eyes for herself. In Necromemnon's castle, the injured Jotac suffers. Necromemnon's minions pull something from his body and push it into his wounded hand, causing a new hand to grow that Jotac cannot control. Necromemnon comments that if he has strength, it will obey. Then he manages to control the hand, and a bone sword emerges from it. The next morning, while Doodad sleeps, Deathstalker and Brisbane walk, being followed by two fighting mountain rocks. She questions about his friend, but he reveals that Doodad is not his friend, only helping to end the curse. She mentions knowing people like him who do not allow closeness. He asks if she is a member of the Thieves' Guild, but she replies that she is not anymore. As they walk, they arrive at a battle camp, finding all the soldiers dead. Doodad tries to find food when a flying weapon attacks them. They hide to avoid the attack. They are assassins called Scarabus, searching for the amulet. Although hidden, they manage to see them with a special eye. One of them throws a blade, but Deathstalker, with his sword, deflects it to the ground. Brisbane tries to attack the Scarabus from behind, initiating a fight, but the Scarabus has teleportation power and disappears. He reappears in front of Deathstalker and attacks him. Scarabus throws the blade, but Doodad stops it with his magic. Filled with joy over his magic, Doodad makes a mistake, and the blade cuts Deathstalker, but he gets up and runs. Scarabus teleports again, attacking with the blade, but Deathstalker manages to grab the chain and cuts it with his sword. Scarabus teleports, but as he prepares to reappear in another position, Deathstalker throws the blade at the creature and completely finishes it off. At night, Doodad deciphers the amulet with a scroll. Brisbane tends to Deathstalker's wounds, getting a bit closer to him. Finally, Doodad manages to decipher the amulet, unlinking it from Deathstalker, who is very happy and thanks him. Doodad reveals that the amulet contains the prophecy of Talon and reads it to them. There were two supreme beings, Talon, the Wizard of Light, and Cider, the Lord of Darkness. They waged war using mortals. However, Cider began to become excessively powerful. Thus, Talon created a weapon so powerful that only a person who lived between life and death could wield it. The weapon is hidden within the amulet, passed between generations until its purpose was forgotten. Deathstalker asks what the weapon is and hears that it is like no other. It is called Talon's Light. Upon glimpsing the weapon, Deathstalker describes it as perfect. Doodad mentions that one day a warrior will arise, capable of wielding its 4 blades to extinguish the 4 hearts of evil, saving the kingdom from endless darkness. The next morning, they awake and notice that Brisbane has disappeared, along with the amulet. Soon, a group of thieves surrounds them. Deathstalker considers confronting them, but Doodad warns that there are many. They take them through the Swamp of the Dead, where Doodad mentions it is a dangerous place, where sick men expelled from their villages are absorbed by the earth, becoming vengeful spirits. They take them before the thief queen Gindel, where Brisbane is having fun. Gindel claims that Brisbane has proven her worth by bringing the most valuable item in the kingdom. Deathstalker sarcastically asks if they were brought to a party, but she harshly replies that she is generous and shares riches like Brisbane, who has been marked by her symbol. Everyone applauds, and Gindel says that now she is one of them. She warns Deathstalker that there would be a price if he did not share his price for the reward. He claims that he remembered but did not care. Gindel orders her men to exterminate the two, and they must meet Prince Baldur in Grimvault, who will give them a good sum of money for the return of the amulet. They are about to fire arrows when Brisbane asks them to stop, claiming it was only to leave them a warning, but Gindel silences her. Thus, they are about to shoot when swamp monsters appear and attack. Chaos envelops the area as Brisbane's flute falls to the ground. The monsters begin to destroy the thieves. Gindel with her archers confronts the monsters, and Deathstalker asks Doodad to untie him. Gindel orders the archers to fire, but the monster devours the arrows, returning them from its body and shooting them back at the archers. Gindel tries to escape, but the monster launches arrows at her. Now free, Deathstalker grabs Gindel's amulet, who is still alive, and tries to hit him, but the monster captures her by the head and rips it off. Deathstalker grabs his sword and moves against the monster, but suddenly stops, for Doodad is playing Brisbane's flute. All the monsters cease their attacks and listen to the music, leading Deathstalker to recall that they forgot the joys of music. Doodad also mentions that they forgot the brotherly hugs. Reluctantly, Deathstalker hugs the monster, starting to feel good while doing so. Doodad says they can now leave, and they exit, while the monster bids them farewell. Deathstalker and Doodad run towards Grimvault to receive the prince's reward. Prince Baldur awaits Gindel with his soldiers. Upon their arrival, Deathstalker displays the amulet to the prince, asking for the reward. Baldur recognizes Deathstalker and mentions that his mother speaks very highly of him, considering him the most beautiful treacherous parasite. He then asks for the amulet. Deathstalker asks for money, and they throw a sack, but it is not enough, so they throw another. Upon throwing the amulet towards the prince, while he checks the money, he realizes that they are just stones. The prince laughs, claiming that he has no intention of paying. He throws the amulet back, informing them that his mother will be happy to receive the head of the most notorious thief. Deathstalker throws the stones at the prince, who immediately orders his soldiers to attack them. Suddenly, the flying eye monster throws stones between them, and the Dreadite soldiers emerge. The soldiers fight but are easily defeated. The flying monster attacks Deathstalker, who is aided by Doodad with his magic. They are fleeing when they encounter Jotac, who stands sadly beside the dying monster. Deathstalker informs him that he cannot return his sword, and Jotac replies that he can keep it, for true power comes from within. Deathstalker also throws his sword and prepares to face Jotac barehanded. They engage in an intense fight, exchanging powerful blows. As they grapple, Jotac's bone sword slips from his hand, injuring Deathstalker. Jotac laughs, but Brisbane attacks him from behind. She apologizes for before, while Jotac grabs her by the neck. Then he rips out the Titan's eye, and with his power, Jotac goes blind. Doodad returns Deathstalker his sword. When he was about to attack Jotac, the enemy dodges the sword and pushes his weapon into Deathstalker's heart, who falls there dead. The others are perplexed to witness this. Jotac laughs while the Dreadite soldiers approach to capture them. Later, the Dreadite soldiers bring the prince to Jotac, who requests the amulet. The prince hands over the amulet, stating that now he must release him, but Jotac shoves his sword into his mouth, declaring that they will ride to the castle of Necromedan for victory. The next morning, the swamp monster drags Deathstalker's dead body to his place. The monster removes roots from his body and places them in the heart of Deathstalker, restoring him to life. Deathstalker realizes that he now sees things more clearly, understanding that he needs the help of his friend, but they are in front of him. How will he get there in time? Spotting the wraith created by Doodad approaching, he understands the situation. In Necromemonon's castle, the Dreadites take Brisbane and Doodad. Necromemonon orders them to tie up the wizard and bring Brisbane to him, declaring that it is her destiny to serve them eternally. Jotac hands the amulet to Necromemonon, who extracts a liquid and asks Brisbane to drink. She refuses, but Jotac forces her to drink, causing her to collapse on the ground. Necromemonon, holding the amulet, asserts that whoever walks between life and death can withdraw their weapon and bring about their destruction, but no longer. He declares that the Abrajon Empire will fall that night, and darkness will rule over the world. Everyone laughs with joy until they spot Deathstalker approaching, holding the wraith. He lands, and the Dreadites attack, but he takes them down alone. Then he frees Doodad and explains what happened. They watch Brisbane struggle and try to help her, but Jotac appears in front of them and the fight resumes. Doodad heads toward Necromemonon and calls him weak. Both summon skeletons that begin to fight. Deathstalker and Jotac face off, each wielding swords to continue the battle. Jotac attempts to drive his sword into Deathstalker, but he grabs it and breaks it, forcing Jotac to shove Dreadite stones into his mouth. A Dreadite emerges from his body, and Deathstalker defeats it as well. The skeletons disappear after fighting each other. Doodad casts his magic on Necromemonon but misses. Necromemonon laughs, asserting that Doodad's aim has yet to improve, but hits a stone which falls on Necromemonon. Something begins to emerge from Brisbane's mouth, and the demon Cider emerges from her. Necromemonon delights at the sight of his master. Cider uses his magic, summoning a skeletal monster that begins to devour Necromemonon's face. Doodad declares that now it is all over, and darkness will engulf them, but Deathstalker approaches the cauldron that Necromemonon maintains through the amulet. He inserts his hand, and the perfect sword Talon's Light emerges. Cider advances toward him, and with his magic brings forth the skeletal monster, but Deathstalker finishes them off with his sword. He then attacks Cider, who grabs him. Doodad, using his magic, strikes Cider while Deathstalker hits him with his sword, spotting his hearts. He then removes one of the blades from the sword and strikes Cider's 3 hearts, causing his destruction in this world. They approach Brisbane, who returns to life. Doodad asks how Deathstalker knew she had 3 hearts, and he replies that he recognized it by the symbol of the 3 moons found on the troll. The next morning, Deathstalker reintegrates the blade. He returns the flute to Brisbane. Doodad argues that he saved the kingdom and can now become their king. Deathstalker comments that he possesses a perfect sword, but this should not dictate his destiny. He asks Doodad to destroy it. Trying to destroy it with his magic, he ends up hurting Deathstalker because his aim is poor. The two argue while Brisbane laughs at them.